Hey everybody, this is Lauren Harpster from Bead and Blossom. Today we are starting my French Beaded Canterbury Bell class. This is video 1 of 6 that will be posted on my channel throughout the month. In this lesson we're just going to be doing the flower center, which looks like this. Now normally when I teach bead-alongs, I teach them first in the Learn How to Make French Beaded Flowers Facebook group. If you are not already part of this group, it is a really awesome community. I started this group with Fenley from the Beaded Florist Studio, so we both teach there frequently, a few times a year, and then we also have guest instructors come in to teach. So if you aren't already a member of the group, please come and join us. We have a lot of fun together in our little community learning the art of French beaded flowers all together. And sometimes I also run the bead-alongs at the same time on my website, beadandblossom.com. So if you're not on Facebook, that's another way to do the bead-alongs with me. And then after the initial bead-along, if I don't sell the class afterwards, I will air the videos publicly on YouTube. But this time I'm doing it a little bit different in that I'm going to do the bead-along in all 3 places all at the same time. So everybody, whether you're following on Facebook or YouTube or on my website, will be able to learn all at the same time together. Now before we begin, I do need to make one little note here about these gloves. I know I'm talking a lot already, but I gotta explain why I'm wearing these stupid gloves, okay? I signed up to teach this bead-along in August last year. So I had already scheduled out, that was my time slot to teach. It was in August. Now last month, as I'm working on my samples, my hands, which have very dramatic skin, very sensitive dramatic skin on my hands, they came in contact with the wrong kind of water, okay? Freaking water. And they threw a hissy fit. And so I ended up with an allergic reaction that resulted in an eczema flare-up all over my hands, which was really, really painful. I almost didn't get to finish my samples because of how painful it was to work and to bead with my hands. So I almost had to cancel my bead-along. But I fought through it. I tried to do my usual routine of treatments whenever this happens to my hands, and it just wasn't responding as well as I wanted it to. Not very quickly, but I decided to go ahead and do the bead-along anyway. And now I'm finally reached the stage where my hands are healed better, but it's still very gross to look at. So I'm wearing gloves to spare you guys that. I figured wearing the gloves would be less distracting than the state of my hands currently. So I'm hoping as we go through this bead-along that my hands will heal up a little bit more so that I don't have to wear these gloves and so that it doesn't hurt to do any of these demos. But we're going to do it anyways, and we're just going to do the best we can. So I apologize for that, but it's the best I can do at this time. Now after all that blabbing, let's finally take a look at the materials that we need to make the flower centers for the Canterbury Bells. I'm working with size 11 seed beads in an opaque pale green, an opaque yellow rainbow, and then a Ceylon pastel cream. If you want the exact brands and numbers, they are down in the description below. I am working with a 28 gauge copper core wire in a color called Peridot, which is made by Parawire. You do not have to use Parawire brand wire. Any 28 gauge copper wire will do. So if you have another brand that's closer to you, use that one instead. You'll just want to look for a color that's similar to this, either a very light green, a gold, or this greeny goldy color will be just fine. You're also going to want a ruler and some wire cutters. I have bead spinners, so I'm going to be using bead spinners, but you don't need them for this component. So if you don't have bead spinners, you can either put them in a little cup and scoop the beads using a cup, or you can just put them straight onto a bead mat and scoop them up one by one. We're not using a whole lot of beads in this component, so it won't take very long to just scoop up the beads one by one. All right, now, as you've seen me do in other video classes, this light yellow color really isn't going to show up on camera very well, so I'm going to be switching it out for these pink beads. So whenever you see me use these pink beads, you should be using the very light yellow beads instead, all right? Now we are going to be weaving our wire up and down through beads, and that means that it's going to be easier to work this component if you cut it off of your spool. And you're going to need around 13 inches of wire cut off the spool. I always recommend the first 1 or 2 times that you make a component and it tells you how much wire to cut off, I always recommend that you cut a little bit more just the first couple of times. That way you can test the amount of wire that you use because everybody might use a slightly different amount of wire. All right. Now, after you cut the wire off the spool, I highly recommend that you run your fingers along it and just try and straighten it out. Sometimes the wire likes to try and retain the shape of the spool, and it tries to be in a little coil. Wire that is in a coil is a lot harder to control and much more likely to form kinks and break. So straighten out your wires before you begin working. String 4 of the green beads, followed by 16 of the darker yellow beads. And then 7 of the green beads again. All right, so your strung beads will look like this. Now we need these 4 beads to be at the beginning, so we're actually going to flip this right here like this. So this is the beginning end of our wire, and then this longer end coming out of the 7 green beads is going to be our working end. We need to move the beads so that they are about 4 inches from the starting end of the wire. We do need a tail wire that long, do not make it any shorter. And I put a little loop right in the end of my wire just to make sure that my beads don't fall off. You just kind of tuck and fold the wire into a little loop there so that if your beads fall down to the end, they aren't going to fall off. All right, so I've got my 4-inch tail wire, and holding those in place, I'm actually just going to let go of all of them except for these 7 beads, these 7 green beads at the top. I'm going to hold those exactly in that position where they were and not allow this wire in front to shrink at all. Then we're going to take this working end of our wire, straighten it out again, make sure it's nice and straight because that makes it easier to work with, and loop it back towards your work like this so you can control it. We are going to skip the first 5 beads, so just move those 5 green beads up out of the way, and we're going to take our wire back down these last 2 green beads. So going back down this way, we're going down, not up through those beads. All right, again, punching and holding those in place because I don't want my wire to shrink. You'll check it again. These greens are going to be sitting at about the 5-inch mark. So if you want to check your length before you pull, you can. We're going to pull this wire all the way through, and we're going to watch our wire loop the whole time that we're pulling to make sure that it doesn't form a kink. And if it does, you need to stop immediately and fix it. All right, so we're going to pull that nice and taut there. So you should have a 5-bead loop with a 2-bead fringe right below it. All right. Now we've got these 16 beads over here. We need 16 more yellow beads on the working end of our wire. Add 16 more yellow beads onto the working end of your wire. And then we're going to push those yellow beads right up below that green loop at the top. And then we're going to take our working wire straight down. These gloves are making life hard here. We're going to take it straight down through all 4 of the green beads at the bottom. We're going to pull that all the way through and then move the green beads up right below the yellow beads. All right, so what we have here is a loop-fringed loop fringe on one component. This is actually the pistil, or the center portion of the flower center. And what we're going to do, you can wait till the end to do this if you want to, but we're going to twist this little yellow section of beads. So I just grabbed the bottom of the loop and the top of the loop, and we're going to twist it so that it looks like that. And then we're going to take this little 5-bead loop and we're going to fold it over. Fold it down like this and try to position it so that it kind of looks like it's sitting in the middle of the pistil instead of off to the side. So if you need to kind of bend that little 2-bead loop sideways a little bit, just to make sure it looks like it's centered. All right. So there is the pistil, and now we need to make 3 little stamen. For these components, we're going to be using the lighter yellow beads. Mine are pink. So string 10 of your light yellow beads onto the working end of the wire. And we need these to be kind of taut against the first one. Don't make it so tight that there's no wiggle room in it, but just enough that it's holding in place and there isn't a very large amount of extra wire in front of your fringe. I find it's best to have the new fringe that I'm working on at about a 90-degree angle away from the first one. I'm going to straighten out my working wire so that I have better control over it, and then loop it back towards my work. And I usually kind of hold that with my fingers like this so I have more control over it and hold it in place. Now for these wire back fringes, we just need to skip the first bead. So I'm going to move that first light yellow bead, mine is pink, but yours should be light yellow, up and out of the way. That will act as like a little stopper bead right at the top of the fringe. And then we're going to take the working wire back down through the lower 9 beads until they come out the bottom. I'm going to give that a little tug there. And as you're pulling this wire through, I'm going to pinch and hold the new fringe together with the first fringe to try and minimize the amount of separation that happens between them when you pull the wires. That'll help to keep your fringes closer together so you don't have to fix that gap later. So pinch and hold that, and then pull on your working wire. Watch your loop the whole time that you're pulling, and also make sure that you are pulling your wire straight down through your beads and not at an angle. If you pull your wire down at an angle, it puts more pressure and more strain on the wire. That makes it more likely that it's going to break. All right, so pinch and hold together, pull my working wire through until it's nice and snug, and that bead that we skipped is sitting nicely right at the top of our little fringe. And you should have something that looks like that. Now we need to make 2 more of these lighter yellow fringes. String 10 more of the lighter yellow beads and push them down right beside the previous fringe, again at that 90-degree angle. Move the top bead out of the way and take the working wire back down through the lower 9 beads. Now if the holes in your beads are a little bit tight, you can push up with your finger on the back of the beads. That will make the wire inside the beads kind of push towards the back of the hole and will open up that hole a little bit better. So put your finger right on the back of those beads and push up, and then push your wire through until it comes out the bottom. And then we're going to pinch and hold that fringe together with the previous fringe. I'm going to grab my working wire and pull through. And then I can move that up into position right beside the previous fringe. String 10 more of your light yellow beads onto your working wire and push them down right beside the previous fringe. Straighten out your working wire and loop it back towards your work. Move that first bead up on the wire and out of the way, and then take your wire back down through the lower 9 beads. Pinch and hold that fringe in place and pull all the way through. Now I'm going to intentionally leave a gap here just so I can show you how to fix it if you do get a gap. So I'm going to intentionally leave just a little gap there. Okay. So if your fringe does move while you're making it and you end up with a little wire gap between your fringes, this is fixable. It's not ideal because it does put a little bit of extra strain on your wires to have to fix it, but you usually can. What you're going to have to do is first make sure that your working wire, the one that you're going to have to tug, is going straight through the beads. So if you're over to the side right here, bend it down so you're going straight through the beads and not at an angle. And then you're going to need to grab just this top bead right at the top of the fringe, that little stopper bead, like that. And I forgot to mention this, but you also need to turn your component so that the little wire gap in front is also going straight through the beads. All right? So both wires coming out of the bottom need to be going straight out of the bottom of the beads. Then you're going to grab that working wire and holding on to just this top bead, which can be a little bit tricky to do, we're going to pull down on that wire to tighten it, grab and hold again, and then pull down to tighten and get rid of that little gap. Alright, so once you have made all of your little fringes, it's going to look like this, and then we just need to finish off and secure the component. And to do that, we're just going to twist these two end wires together. We're going to bring the first fringe and that last fringe close together so there's not a gap between them. And then we're just going to twist these wires tightly just a couple of times, just enough to secure it. Don't twist down any further than that. During assembly, we're going to be twisting a bunch of these little wires together to make the stem of our flower. And if you have a bunch of twists already in this little flower center stem and then try and twist it with other twisted wires, it makes a very, very lumpy stem. So to improve the look of your flowers, we're just going to twist a couple of times, just enough to hold everything in place, and then leave the rest untwisted. But you can cut off that little wire loop at the beginning. Now notice that the little wires at the bottom of my component are two different lengths here. That is perfectly fine. In fact, it's actually better for your flowers if they are slightly different lengths. That way they will end on the flower stem at different points, and so the stem will kind of taper down in width instead of all the wires ending at the same spot, which will kind of create this little cliff or lump on the side of your stem that just makes it look less smooth and less attractive. So different wire lengths there. All right, so there is again the flower center made in the correct colors. Now for one stem of Canterbury Bells, you need to make 8 total of these little flower centers, 1 for each flower. It'll go right in the middle of your flower, just like this one.